Duncan, you've been with the side now for more than a year now. There's been a few highs, a few lows. And how would you look back at the last 1 year that you've been with the side? This is your first ICC tournament as India coach. How do you look back at the last 1 year? And how do you look forward to this ICC tournament?
I just think it's important we're here for the T20, and we should be here to discuss the T20. And I reiterate what MS said. Preferably we've come here with the belief that we can win this T20, and I think it's quite crucial that we mentally attune ourselves to that. Hopefully we've got a good build-up. We rained out at Vizag. We had a game last night where we unfortunately lost, but it was, I think, good experience for the players. And hopefully for the next 2 warm-up games, we'll get the preparation that we require for this tournament.
MS Radhakrishnan from the Hindu. Inclusion of Yuvraj, was it an emotional decision or was it based on form? Of course, you've been acquitted at the end of the game, but how did that come about at all?
Well, it's a selection matter, so I won't really like to discuss the selection matter. If you ask the selectors, maybe they can throw a bit more light, but as a skipper, I'm really happy to have him in the side because the reason being, we all know he's a champion player, he's a match winner, and at the same time, he also helps me get the kind of balance that I really like in the side, especially in a T20 format. We don't really play with the fifth bowler, we don't have that playing 11 where we say, okay, the first top 6 are the batters or 7 are the batters and the rest 4 with the all-rounder you can play, but it becomes a bit difficult because we don't really have that genuine all-rounder. So all these part-timers, can contribute. Yuvraj is one of them, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, also Suresh Raina. If they chip in with 1 over each, it becomes a lot easier for us, as a side. Then we have the depth in the batting and also the bowling variation works.
MS, I would like to know your reaction about the resumption of India-Pak cricketing ties in December.
Well, let's stick to T20 World Cup, please.
Yes, winning the 50-over World Cup would have obviously raised expectations back home. How keen are you to stamp your reputation as the best team in short formats of cricket? Both
well,
50 and
it's important that we do well over here, but as I said, we have to be at our best, especially in this format because you don't have much time. 20 overs. Compared to the 50-over version or test match, you have less time, but at the same time, it's quite enough. You don't really need to play too many shots. So I think, we would like to do well over here, but I feel the condition out here, in Sri Lanka has changed over the years. I remember once we came in 2004 or I think it was 2005 and the wickets were very different, and the last time when we came over here, the wickets were very different. Whatever the reasons may be, spinners didn't get much help from the 5 ODIs and 1 T20 that we played over here. So we'll have to see how the wickets are prepared. And also, if too many games are played in one venue, maybe the wickets will get slower and the spinners will come back into action with a bit more support of the wicket. So we'll have to see how it goes and we'll react to the situation as it comes.
You talked about earlier about how rankings mean little, and in your pool you have Afghanistan, who aren't necessarily recognised as one of the bigger playing nations. Are countries like them a threat, and because internationally they wouldn't be seen as one? And how do you work against complacency amongst your players against a team like that?
Well, you have the respect for your opposition, and it doesn't matter which team you are playing and where they are ranked. You have to respect them as an international side. That's there to beat you because that's what each and every side wants to do over here. So that respect really, helps eradicate the complacency if there is any, and, helps you perform better. So we don't really take any sides lightly, and that respect really helps us do that.
Holmes, fast bowling hasn't traditionally been a strength. You said that the seaming wickets here have been a bit different from the past. How are you expecting your seam bowlers to go in this World Cup?
Well, it's not like our seamers have done really badly. I think they have done decently well. And in this short format, it's important to start well. The first few overs are really crucial, and a lot will depend on the kind of wickets. The last T20 that we played, the wicket was completely different from some of the other wickets that we have played in Sri Lanka. So I think it will give an opportunity to the fast bowlers to explore themselves. And if you see the fast bowlers who are part of the side right now, they are very specialist kind of bowlers. They feature in the ODI side also, but somebody like a Balaji, he's got plenty of variation and is quite experienced. So, his inclusion will definitely help us.
MS, in such a tournament, how important is momentum? Does it matter at all to have a good start and carry on the momentum?
Well, it does matter, because, it's one of tournaments where you play a considerable amount of T20 games, more often than not. In a bilateral series, you play one T20, maybe two, and, at times you have to change your game very quickly to adapt to the format. But, this is one tournament where you play a considerable number of games, 2 warm-up games, and then you go into the league stage and then the knockout stages. So, I feel momentum does help you, extract that extra bit, but it's not everything, because we have seen momentum change in not only one game or couple of games. In the same game itself, we have seen the momentum change quite a few times. So, it is definitely a factor, but it's not the main factor, you can say.
MS, India plays all its game in R. Premadasa Stadium. Is it an advantage because other teams are travelling to Kandy or Hambantota?
Well, that will be of, you can say, a bit of help. The reason being we won't be travelling, and at the same time, which means, if you're not travelling much, you can put a bit more emphasis on the next session and the skill-oriented session, as well as, the fitness part. So, in that way, it will definitely be a bit of help. And let's see, at the end of the tournament, we can elaborate on that.
MS, you think that the way T20 cricket is being played now, it will someday replace the 50 over game?
It will replace
50 over game.
Well, I feel each and every format is special in its own way. Just for example, you play a test match. If a batsman plays 200 odd deliveries, scores 50 runs, that's very good batting. In a T20 format, the player plays 3 or 4 deliveries, scores 15 runs, very good batting. But ODI is a format where you have to mix both. You lose 4 wickets early and the batsman comes in, plays a big shot, gets out, people point finger at him. Then the batsman bats a number of overs. In 90 deliveries, he scores 40 runs, people point fingers at him. So, I think it's a balance of both the formats. You get the result in one day, and at the same time, you have to plan your innings. In a T20 game, you may lose too many wickets early, and people will say, okay, let's consolidate as of now, and that period goes for 6 balls maximum. So, I feel each and every format is special, and we should let it be that way. At times, I've felt in the ODI, too many changes have been made to make the game interesting. But it's already interesting, people are scoring 300 odd runs, and how interesting you want it to be.
Duncan, I've got a question for you. As a coach, how difficult it is, or what it requires for a coach to prepare the team for 3 different formats which happen usually in a series?
Well, I think it is difficult to some degree preparing for the 3 formats, but what makes it even more difficult is that you don't seem to have a break between the formats. We just going straight from one format like we have. We've gone test to T20, sometimes we've got test to one days, and that creates quite a problem trying to get the guys mentally attuned to the type of cricket they are playing. And it's not easy when you're asking a player to suddenly switch on from a test match where he's got to be very patient to suddenly playing a T20 game. Because even I get caught out like that. I can sit and watch a test match, for example, after a one-day series, and I see a ball go down the leg, and I suddenly say, that's a wide. And then, oh no, it's not, we're in test cricket. Now you just think of a batter who's got to really think and make a decision very, very quickly in a minute part of a second where he does that. So it's very difficult for him to do that, and I don't think he can prepare for that in the periods that we're given when we change over from these different formats.
Building on that, MS, for you as a player, you're one of the few players who play all 3 formats. How difficult is it for you personally to switch on and switch off from different formats, from colored clothing, white clothing, whatever, and how difficult it is for you as a player?
Well, I think it is quite a difficult one because, the way you play all the 3 formats is very different. But, of course, it depends on a particular kind of player. Also, somebody like a Virender Sehwag, he plays the same format, where he's wearing the white uniform, all the colored uniform. But for some of the players, who play differently in all the 3 formats, to switch on and switch off from one pattern of cricket into another can be difficult. The reason being, the way you need to approach a game is very different, and the skill set that's required is very different. Of course, the fact remains the same that the basic needs to be good, and you need to build on that. But I feel a T20 and a test cricket, the demands are very different, and accordingly you have to adjust everything. So it is difficult. But at the same time, as international cricket at the top level, I feel cricketers are supposed to do that. So that's another challenge apart from the fact there's pressure and all those things going around.
Yes, I'm Sadish from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. What do you think the match-winning factors for the Indian team in the forthcoming tournament? In an essence, what would be the match-winning factors?
Well, I think the batsmen, we have always been a side that relies a lot on the batsmen. And I feel the part-timers, the 4 overs of the part-timers will be very crucial. And I call them part-timers, the reason being, they have bowled 10 overs or 8 over spells in ODIs, consistently. But still we would like to reflect them as a part-timer for us. But we have got plenty of variations. And if throughout the tournament, our part-timers keep bowling well and, we don't fetch too many runs off those 4 overs, then I think we'll be a very good side.